Hello and welcome to Stephen University, the third part in our tired trilogy. This one is Catch and Release. It's a Tuesday of some description. Let's chat Catch and Release.
In this episode, it's the third part of our tired trilogy. I was asleep.
I hope that's not the case.
So Stephen's doing his going to bed routine, which is quite amusing, quite sweet.
Shines his gem.
Yeah, that was very funny.
After that, didn't think about that. I'd forgotten that happened in this one. Actually, to be honest with you.
So he's about to go to sleep, and then Peridot kidnaps him and takes him to the warp pads, and is like, "You got to fix this. You got to let me go home." The other gems appear. They capture her with more ease than previous attempts. That's cool. I think she just enrages Garnet enough to fully squash her.
Well, they poof her.
Yeah, so she poofs. They put her in a bubble, and they all go back. Happy days, except before she got poofed, she started to say that the Earth was in danger, and Stephen wants more details. So Stephen goes to the room. He unpoofs her.
Releases her from the bubble, and she unpoofs herself, I suppose.
And she reveals that the cluster is going to destroy the Earth. And Steve's like, whoa. Then the other gems appear. They fight for a bit. She ends up in the bathroom. They decide that they need to keep her in that form if she's got information, but that she's just going to hang out in the bathroom. And the episode ends with the fairly ominous note of her just hanging out in the bathroom. There's a lot of emotional beats in there, and stuff I've missed. But that's the summary.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I think if she still had her limb enhancers, as she calls them, they wouldn't be considering it. She'd be a bit too dangerous. But it turns out what we learn in this episode mainly is that without those, she's tiny, and she's small with an O. Yeah. Small Peridot is how this Peridot is referred to, and is I think of no threat to anyone, as is proven by the fact that she sort of bats Stephen and is surprised when he went, "Ow, that hurt." She goes, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." So then she hits him some more.
And then they just start slapping each other and having like a play fight and stuff. It's great. Which is very funny.
It's a great
she is quite cute. She's a cute little thing.
And then that's why she's mostly annoyed at Stephen. Yeah. She's like, "And you called me cute." Yeah.
There's some really nice, gentle character stuff with her and Stephen in this episode, and her talking about how she's upset because she's trapped, and Stephen's sweet nature just kind of shining through and stuff. So it's a good one. I
think this is the point that I can officially reveal that Peridot might be my favourite character.
Oh, really?
And I've never wanted to say that because I think that I didn't want you to know how involved Peridot would ultimately become in the plot.
Yeah, because
obviously early on she might have just shown up once or twice, and you might not have seen her again. She might have just been a minion of a bigger, threat. Therefore, we may never have seen much of her again. I don't want to give away that she shows up quite a lot.
Well, you almost feel like she could slowly turn good and become part of the gang. You almost feel like now.
Yeah, they've softened her this episode.
Ended that point quicker than I would have done to yawn.
Do you want to finish it? Do you want to finish it now, post-yawn?
No, fine.
Yeah, I think there's a truth to that. I think from this episode you could see certainly glimpses of that. You'd put that together just from how soft how much she softens during this episode. That's for sure. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the direction they're going then for sure, or what do you?
It's hard to say.
Any thoughts on the cluster? Which has been referenced before.
Some big, like a version of the sort of gems buried in the Earth, but it's like a big cluster of them, and it explodes and then destroys the Earth, and the whole planet is just gems. Would be my assumption, because of the way she's described it and the name.
It does seem world-endy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know how they stop that. I'm looking forward to finding out how they stop that. That's pretty cool. Yeah. That would be my theory on that. But I don't know if she's going to turn good. I don't know if from then on it's the 4 of them, or the 5 of them rather. But I think she's going to become torn. Not including Connie.
7 of them.
Including Greg.
No. Well, now 8 of them. Stop making it bigger. Garnet's 2, isn't she? So.
Oh, yeah.
That was what I was initially getting at.
Yeah, that's fair.
I see what you mean, though. The core team. You're sort of saying, like, it's one or the other.
Garnet, Amethyst, Pearl, and then Peridot.
So you're sort of saying that she's either going to become part of the gang or she's going to go the other way.
No, I think she'll be torn, and she will ultimately then do something to help them, like Lapis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Lapis is currently keeping Jasper at bay. In a bay.
Yeah. A seemingly bad guy doing something good.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the strength of this episode lies in the comedy. And it's weird to take a previously threatening villain and just go, you know what? Now they're the opposite.
Yeah, it's a cool idea.
No, now they're not at all. It turns out they're not that scary. They're not that intimidating. And they've been slowly doing that. Peridot is seeming less and less of a threat as we've gone. You know, when Peridot first showed up, she felt very intimidating. And then the more we've seen her, the less we've been intimidated by her, and the less of a threat she seemed. Yeah. And then now without her limb enhancers, she is pretty much...
It seems like a natural progression of that character. Like, we've seen her be kind of stroppy child before and be scared without the influence of bigger, scarier people around her. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like... It doesn't... It's one of those turns that feels very... It doesn't feel out of place at all.
No.
It feels very natural as the progression of that character goes. You know, this episode also gives us the joy of the world's best Stephen mug with the name Stephen spelled differently.
Yeah.
Which I just loved. But world's best Stephen PH, not V. Love that. Like, he couldn't quite find one with a V.
Or like Greg brought it for him, but just cocked it up a little bit.
Or couldn't find the one with a V, so he just got him one with a PH, and he just had to like it or lump it.
There are a few little details in this episode. There's that and the picture of Connie by his bedside. I thought that was very cute.
Yes, that's another nice one.
That's a nice one.
Yeah. There's a lot of... there's so much continuity for this episode. She talks about, obviously... not getting a response from Yellow Diamond, which is a reference to obviously when she tried to contact her and cry for help. What else? Steven's healing powers failing once again, but notice that you could have predicted they wouldn't work before it even happened, because when he licked his hand, he didn't see the little white sparkly specks that you usually get when it's gonna work.
Well, he was scared again. That heightened emotional state.
It seems that if you kidnap him or emotionally make him doubt himself like Greg did in House Guest, then apparently you can mess with his powers. So basically there's a reference to Keystone Motel, I don't know if you remember, but basically Amethyst tells Stephen to pee outside when Peridot's in the bathroom, and he complains that Gem's making go to the bathroom outside, which is Sapphire makes him do the same thing in Keystone Motel, which I thought that was very funny. Peridot obviously tells Stephen she knew what he did for Lapis, so she's obviously gonna... there's a reason she's a little bit more willing to talk to Stephen, I think, than the Crystal Gems. Mm-hmm. I think that she's heard that Stephen tried to help Lapis. Yeah. And therefore knows that Stephen's ultimately going to do the right thing.
Yeah, Stephen's their way into getting her to talk and stuff like that.
And you had an interesting reaction to when he handed her the boot, the shoe, whatever you want to call it, the foot part of her thingy, because you went, "Oh, I'm not sure that's a good idea."
Yeah, because you don't know. I didn't know
what she's going to be able to do with it.
Yeah, what she's going to be able to do with it, whether she made that and could make it again, or whether it can be formed from one of them.
Chris yawning again. Wow, this
seems like a good idea. I'm tired, Dan. It's the tired trilogy.
Don't want
to let people down. I just didn't. It just seemed like a bad idea, but she didn't do anything with it, and I actually really like that, because I was thinking, maybe she'll either get caught again or she'll just run away again. To have this sort of she's in the bathroom.
The episode ends with her very much still in the bathroom.
Yeah, which I think is quite funny.
It's a nice idea. I suppose I get it, because it's you sort of think like, is she just living there now?
Yeah. Is that just it? Is that just it going forward?
Member of the Crewniverse, one of the people who works on the show, Ben Levin, teased that the episode introduces the beginning of some stuff. Any thoughts on what that might be?
The unraveling of the cluster plot and all that kind of stuff. Although I think it's like, how far away before the end of the series? That feels like an end of the series thing.
That's a great question, Chris. Why do you always have the good questions and I never have the right answers?
Well,
I never have the fucking answers. Okay. You say something else and I'll double check where we're up to in this.
Some really funny gem stuff. Pearl showing us a little bit about Crazy Pearl by thinking they should tie her up. Amethyst just cracking a lot of wisecracks, like peeing with the fishes. And I'll be in my room eating garbage, and I really thought it was funny when their exchange of like, "Hey, I'm going to kidnap you. We can joke about it now." And he's like, "Only an hour's gone by."
Yes.
So that was pretty funny.
Yeah, this was what we just watched was episode 18 of a 26 episode season.
Okay, so
there are still 1, 2. Well, how many episodes does that make? Oh, my math. I'm
like
half
8.
asleep.
8 episodes.
That makes 8 episodes left.
So yeah, that kind of work checks out.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so we're quite deep into season 2. Really,
yeah, I didn't realise we were that. I think because of the bombs, I just didn't realise we were that so far in.
I know the bombs that we've done 3 of them, and they were like 5 episodes each. So I guess we're 3 or 4 bombs in. We might be 4 bombs in. How many bombs?
No,
in?
we're 3.
We're
done
3
3.
bombs in.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the first one, the disappointing one,
Yeah.
and then the other good one.
The planned one, and then
there's an unplanned one in the middle. Yeah, the sardonyx one was very good. We are on the verge of it. We are on the verge of another bomb. Only 3 or 4 episodes away.
Did they end it with the bomb then?
Looks that way.
Yeah.
Looks that way. I didn't realise that until just now, but looking at it, yeah.
What were your overall thoughts?
Oh, I love this episode, but it's weird because I'll be honest with you, this episode is in my mind inextricably linked with the following episode. So it's really weird because there are beats that I muddled up the order in which things happen. And there are things from next week's episode that I thought were in this week's episode, and I think it's probably because at this point, no, I was watching them one by one. I think maybe the week these aired, or the few weeks over the course, I think we saved a couple up and watched them at once, maybe. But I remember watching this immediately and then watching the episode that follows, When It Rains. So maybe I just... How close did they air to each other? Yeah, they aired within a week of each other, so maybe
probably that.
Maybe we didn't watch Catch and Release when it first released, and then when we had Catch and Release, sat down to watch it, we also had When It Rains.
Right, okay.
Because me and my girlfriend watch them together, so sometimes if our schedules don't line up, we'll just save up a couple of episodes of a thing and then watch them together. I think that must have been what happened here, because I distinctly remember seeing this as almost as one, and I think that has really muddled up my my memory of it, because like when we were watching it, I was like, but we're getting towards the end, this hasn't happened yet, or this, but this has happened, and I wasn't expecting that till next week, and like there's all sorts of weird stuff. It's always nice as well to see the bubble room again.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's always cool to see that room. There's always interesting stuff in those bubbles.
Yeah.
So many gem shards of corrupted gems now.
Yeah, and I loved the animation of her face when she saw that and realised what it was.
Yeah, she was like, mortified by it. Yeah. And it was weird because it's again that powerful idea that like everyone's the villain from someone else's perspective.
Yeah.
Because they look at the stuff she's doing with the fusing the gem shards and those experiments, and they're disgusted by it. And she's looking at the way they've trapped all these corrupted gems, and she's horrified by that, because they're technically their gems. But they can't. The problem is they can't necessarily be. But then again, Stephen did say, didn't he, when he put Centipede back in there the second time? One day I'm going to figure out how to. So Stephen's motives are to ultimately not have them trapped. That he wants to be able to help them.
Something decent with them.
So yeah, you're right. Her face said so much. Like she was clearly.
That would be an insane visual, wouldn't it? Like, I'm gonna say this and just want it. So if we don't get it, I'll be like, But like, imagine if they did some sort of plot where all those bubbles burst, just all these fucking villains from the past,
all the monsters
just appear.
Or
that'd be sweet.
Another theory, Chris.
Yeah.
And now I'm theorizing, which I suppose you can infer means that this hasn't happened yet, because you make if any information is drawn from this theory. What if at some point during a battle with Homeworld gems they need some help, and Stephen does manage to heal them all, and when they're not corrupted, they're proper gems, not monsters, and they fight alongside.
That's pretty cool. Yeah,
that takes some convincing though. We've had you trapped for 40 years, whatever, 50 years, 100 years, however long you've all been in here. Don't worry about it. Just help us out, yeah?
You just help us out this one time.
Yeah. But anyway, that's a thought. Never occurred to me before.
What other notes you got?
So many, Chris. So many. I don't know what I'm talking about. I really like her thinking everything was a weapon.
Yeah.
In the toilet.
Yeah, that was good.
I mean, this episode was just like, the amount of humour in this episode was
it's
ridiculous.
just a lot of funny stuff.
Really a lot of funny stuff. She's obviously so she's clearly very unfamiliar with Earth. She acts surprised when she sees her reflection in the mirror, as if she's literally never seen her reflection before, and to make some time making goofy faces. Thought that was interesting. Stephen obviously admits to low hair maintenance. Big deal.
Yeah, it doesn't comb it. Yeah,
doesn't comb his hair. Funny. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Peridot has a lot of cat-like movements in the episode. Noted that because I think that's really weird. The way she runs up the stairs when she's running away from the gems on all fours, very, very peculiar. So yeah. What else have we got here? Oh, Garnet says she'd never heard of the cluster before. This is interesting. Although Sapphire,
said that's new.
Yeah. But Sapphire was actually nearby with Stephen when Peridot and Jasper walked past them on the ship in Jailbreak, talking about the cluster. So she either didn't overhear it was she singing at that point? Was that when she was still singing for Ruby? I can't remember. Or maybe Garnet just didn't get that memory once they were fused.
No, I think it was their in heightened state of panic and wanting to find each other that led to them just not
remembering it,
not listening to what was being said.
That makes more sense. Let's have a look. Despite previous criticisms of fish stew pizza, Amethyst is seen devouring an entire box of their pizza.
It's a very Amethyst thing to do, isn't it?
There's a window over the toilet in Stephen's bathroom, but neither Peridot nor the Crystal Gems mention it as a possible escape route. No one figures that out.
I was thinking while I was watching it, like, what about the window?
Yeah. This episode was actually, and this isn't a trivia thing because I've not got this in front of me, but I do remember that this episode was teased as you finally get to see Stephen's bathroom. Like, you've ever wondered what that looks like? That was like the official synopsis they released. There you go. Yeah, no, here it is. I found it. Official synopsis. We finally see inside Stephen's bathroom.
Well, that's it. That's the entire synopsis. That's awesome.
It's great for two reasons. Because this show has gotten a historically has been regularly criticised.
Buzzing there. Dan not got his phone on flight mode. Shocking.
I know that is shocking for me. That isn't bad. That isn't great, is it? It's because there it is. It's in flight mode now, Chris.
Oh, great. Wow. So sorry, guys, if all you've heard is for 20 minutes.
No, it only was the once.
But,
it's not near the mic, so it can't interfere that way. Chris, you know what? Fuck you.
What were you saying?
Can't remember. Oh yeah, the show. No, the show has got a historical thing of misleading episode titles. So titles that sound either epic and on, or sound really subtle and then turn out to be epic. So it's funny that they were literally just like, well, today we see inside Stephen's bathroom, which is 100%
true. We do see inside his bathroom. It's a good bathroom.
Yeah, it's a great bathroom. I think it's it's an episode that's value really depends on what they do with it next.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say, because it's funny and enjoyable as a 10-minute thing, but I think all of the work they've done to sort of characterise Peridot in this episode is only good if they then follow through on it.
Yes, yeah.
So
I think
when I first watched this, I was in a situation where I was just like, well, I really enjoyed that. Let's hope that they keep that up. But then again, I mean, this show has proven itself time and time again.
I think they will. It feels like a part one.
Yeah, and it really is. I do really deeply connect it to the subsequent episode, which is called When It Rains, which we'll obviously be reviewing at some point soon. Interestingly, Chris, I've just looked and checked. The date this is being released, this one is the 19th of December.
Blimey,
getting towards Christmas.
Is this our last one before Christmas?
No, we got a 22nd of December. Which is the next episode When It Rains.
I feel like if we stop now, I feel like, Dan, we should make it a tired quadrilogy.
Quadrilogy.
Are
you feeling a quadrilogy?
Just do the part 2, do the Christmas, and just do it.
But and then when we come back, it'll be January.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't. It'd be December 29th.
We'll remember
after Christmas. Though.
We'll remember to say Merry Christmas. Tired quadrilogy. So either way, listeners, you're going to get the next episode. But I'm just,
Should we record it?
Let's do it now.
Wow. Well, anyway, so I mean, I on the whole.
Oh, also, we have nothing more to say about the episode.
Yeah, it's a weird one actually because we normally have so much more. But I just think
you know what? I don't think we've rambled. I think we're so tired that we've just kept it a bit more focused.
So it's the same level of content, just not as much faff about. Yeah. I really enjoy this one though, and I think that if you're the writer of a show of any show, and you were looking to introduce, not introduce, but like sort of establish a character who's never been the focus because, of course, they're a villain, therefore they're only being seen, they're an antagonist of some sort, so you're only catching them being an antagonist. To actually start characterizing that person so that you understand where they are, you'd be envious of an episode that is 11 minutes long and manages to make you empathize with Peridot.
Yeah.
She's scared, she's trapped. They did so much in this episode to make you understand Peridot's situation and her fear of the crystal gems. Because at one point she literally says, "Oh yeah, you took that the last time you assaulted me."
Yeah.
And it's like, actually, she's not wrong. She's done nothing to them specifically since landing on Earth other than trying to get herself off Earth.
Yeah.
No harm to them at all. Other than she sent out a message for help to the Diamond, to Yellow Diamond, or to Homeworld. Other than that, they have literally just chased her around and harassed her. So from her perspective, it's so easy to understand why she's been so aggressive back to them now.
And to get it to a point where I'm going, maybe she joins the team, like
in 10 minutes.
Work,
so if you're a writer who has that task ahead of you, where you're looking at like taking a character that's not been seen too much and characterizing that way, you must just look at this and go, "Fuck you." Like, just screw you guys. Yeah. A 10-minute episode and you've achieved that. Like, that's
good stuff.
It's really great writing from scratch. So let's look at When It Rains, Chris. But we'll be doing that for you guys. I think the 24th of December, Chris.
Amazing.
Why are we doing No, sorry, 22nd.
Yeah.
Sorry, 24th is an MBS episode.
Yeah.
This year.
Jesus.
I don't know what we're going to do, whether we're going to do that or not.
Yeah.
But in terms of this, so we'll speak to you guys on Friday, the 22nd of December, as we discuss When It Rains.